the Bears. Meanwhile, on offense, Eagles are going to have to figure out something because you're right. I'm always impressed by Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter and what he brings to the table.
This is the end of bye season, Ross. Week 14 with the final four teams getting their bye. New England, the Giants, San Francisco, and Carolina. Three of those teams are actually in contention for something at this point. Does that come at a good time for them as they try to rest up and get healthy for the month of December?
I think it does. Yeah, I think that they're, first of all, it's nice to have that to look forward to the whole season, right? That's like a nice carrot that's been dangling out there. But it's such a long season. You always hear the expression, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think it's really valuable for these guys to be able to recharge before the final 4 weeks of the regular season. And then in some cases, the playoffs, they should feel refreshed and ready to roll.
Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy these games. We'll talk about them next week, Ross.
Sounds great. Thank you, Scott.
That's going to do it for this edition of NFL Preview. Join us this weekend for Sunday Night Football. Ryan Ratke and Mike Golick have all the action as the Chiefs host the Texans. I'll kick off the broadcast with scores and highlights from around the league on NFL Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The producer of NFL Preview, Jordan Markovic, executive producer Mike Eby, the senior vice president of sports for Cumulus Media and Westwood One is Bruce Gilbert. Now for Ross Tucker, I'm Scott Graham. Thanks for joining us. You've been listening to NFL Preview on Westwood One.
Get the latest on the Giants and Jets on WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York, and Odyssey Sports Stations.
WFAN Sports Flash.
And the Sports Flash is sponsored by Chef IQ Precision Cooking, Effortless Results, ChefIQ.com. Good morning at 8 o'clock. I'm Tony Pierno. As heard here on The Fan, the Nets took down the Pelicans last night in Brooklyn, 119-101. Michael Porter Jr. returned to the court and scored a game-high 35 points. For Porter, it was his third straight game reaching the 30-point mark.
I think guys are just getting used to playing with each other. It's leading to some good looks for me. And then, that's really, I'm getting a lot of easy looks at the rim. And then from there, I'm able to make some jumpers. So I'm trying to focus on playing inside out, and it's easy playing with guys like Clax, Dede, Wolf, Igor. They find me for easy looks, so I think that's really it.
Porter also grabbed 9 rebounds. The Nets improved to 6-17 on the season. On the ice, the Rangers lost in overtime to the Avalanche 3-2, while the Devils fell to the Bruins 4-1, and the Islanders shut out the Lightning 2-0. Ilya Sorokin made 32 saves. College hoops, St. John's got by Ole Miss 63-58. It's the Johnnies' first victory over an SEC school since 2012, and Rutgers was blown out by Michigan 101-60. Championship Saturday in college football. Indiana beat Ohio State 13-10 to capture the Big Ten crown. ACC Championship, Duke knocked off Virginia in OT 27-20. SEC title game, Georgia downed Alabama 28-7, and Texas Tech topped BYU 34-7 to secure the Big 12 championship. It's the program's first outright conference title since 1955. NFL, the Jets battle AFC East rival the Dolphins this afternoon at MetLife Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. 35 degrees under mostly sunny skies in Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Tony Pierno.
Get the scuttlebutt on your favorite team, The Fan, on the Odyssey, iHeart, and TuneIn apps. It's time for You Better You Bet on The Fan with your host, Nick Costas.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry Week 14 NFL Sunday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet on The Fan. Nick Costas here with you for the next 60 minutes, talking all things betting and fantasy. Week number 14 in the National Football League. You can hit me up on Instagram at the Costos, TheKostos, posting a lot of Instagram content these days. Twitter or X becoming something of a hellscape. Not a political comment, just saying. Hit me up on Instagram. I respond to comments, all that good stuff at the Costos, TheKostos. And the show is on X at You Better You Bet. And the show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. The phone number today to chime in on bets, on fantasy, on football, 888-808-1019, 808-1019. All right. You know how we do. Nick Costos and you, each and every NFL Sunday morning here on The Fan. Side total and props for every game on the board. In the fastest show in all of wagertainment. Bring it up, Rami. Football. And the show starts right now. And it begins with me saying this. Look, you're a college football fan. And I know that New York's not a college football town, but we do have college football fans in New York and in the tri-state area. If you're a college football fan, like I am, I love college football, talk about it on the show all the time, then this is a early morning for you if you are up right now, because we had the Big Ten title game. Indiana beats Ohio State, ending late last night. Indiana upsets Ohio State. Indiana, what a world. Indiana's going to be the number one overall seed in the college football playoff. Selection Sunday today in college football. That's about noon Eastern. Indiana will be the number one overall seed. And Duke wins the ACC last night, beating Virginia, which is going to have ramifications on who makes the college football playoff. Indiana and Duke, the two big winners last night in college football. What the hell is this? College basketball? And the big debate will be Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama. Who's in? Who's out? And look, maybe you, the listener, you, the viewer, for people watching on YouTube, shout out to you. Maybe you don't care, but a huge story right now in the world of sports, and I'm fired up about it. So wanted to give you that before we officially begin the show and talking the professionals today. And we begin in the Jersey Meadowlands. A rivalry renewed as the 5-7 Miami Dolphins visit the 3-9 New York Football Jets. In all seriousness now, this is not trolling on my part at all, Jets fans, as we're about to discuss your team. This is an incredibly fascinating game. And I know 5-7 at 3-9 is normally not the type of game. Like, we will talk about Browns-Titans later. That is not a fascinating game. It is a game that will be played today that we can talk about and potentially bet on, but it is not fascinating. Dolphins-Jets is a fascinating game. And the reason why, if you go back a number of weeks ago, it wasn't that long ago where both of these teams' seasons, and look, we know that neither team is making the playoffs. In the, if I'm going to paraphrase Kanye West, the playoff hopes, these teams are dead. They're not making the playoffs. I guess like Miami could feasibly make it if the Dolphins win out, which I don't think is going to happen. But both of these seasons, forget about playoffs. The vibes were at an all-time low. Not just like dead and buried. We're talking not 6 feet under. We're in the Earth's core. That's how bad it was for Miami and for the New York Jets. Now, Sunday, December 7th, not 1941, thankfully, we have seen the vibes shift for both of these teams. Shout out, I did that speech in like oratory class in like 6th grade. I still know almost the whole thing. But the vibes for both of these teams have shifted tremendously. Where Miami has now won 3 straight games. Mike McDaniel might keep his job, as crazy as that sounds. I was kind of hoping he would be Giants offensive coordinator. That seems to be a pipe dream. McDaniel might keep his job. And for all the Jets fans out there, I'm being serious right now. You have to feel pretty good about your team, right? Not like this year that they're awesome, but that they're building something for the future. And that you have faith in general manager Darren Muji. And you have a little bit more faith in Aaron Glenn than you did when this team was absolutely brutal with all the losses to start the year. Like, the vibes are much better here. And we're going to get a glimpse when this game is over, like which team is going to be able to say at the end of this game, like, yeah, like the fan base is going to feel really good. One of these fan bases is going to feel good moving forward here after this game, either the Jets or the Dolphins. And I do think that makes for a fascinating backdrop in what is otherwise a pretty nondescript game as far as having no playoff implications. Now, as far as the handicap of the game goes, I look at Miami's offense and what Miami's offense has morphed into over the last number of weeks on this win streak. And I think it's really smart from Mike McDaniel, where they are no longer, and they can't do this with Tyreek Hill out, right? They're no longer this high-flying, explosive passing offense. They're running the ball a lot more, and the passing volume has come down. And, I don't think Tua is very good, so I think that's probably a good thing, right? And if they're going to run the ball a ton, which I think they're going to do, and they have a stud running back in Devon Achane, who's spectacular, I don't think this is good news for the Jets. And remember last week we talked about the Jets-Falcons game, and I bet the Jets in the game, and they did end up winning the game. We said, Bijan Robinson's probably going to have a big game here. The Jets are not good, stopping the run. And now here comes Devon Achane. So if you made me bet this game for that reason, I do like Miami a little bit. And I also think that you have, while I don't like Tua Tagovailoa very much, he is absolutely better than whatever stage of his career Kirk Cousins is at right now, where he's obviously terrible. So Tua's not great, but he is better than Kirk Cousins. And I like Tyrod Taylor a little bit, and I like some of the pass catchers on the Jets. You know I love me some A.D. Mitchell, but it's not enough for me to like the Jets in this game. Now, I don't know that I'm going to bet Miami. My lean, though, is towards the Dolphins at 2.5. Now, you out there listening or watching, I don't have to be right. I'm wrong all the time, as a lot of listeners and viewers remind me, and that's okay, right? You don't have to agree with me. But what I will say is that you have to agree with me on, if you're going to bet this game and you like Miami, make sure you lay 2.5, and give yourself the best chance to win. And if you like the New York Jets, find a +3 and take 3 and give yourself the best chance to win. I'm looking at an offshore right now. Okay, so 2.5 is basically across the board here. But if you want to bet the Jets, see if you can get a +3. If you want to lay Miami, lay the 2.5. Would I be shocked if the Jets won this game? I wouldn't. Lean for me towards the Miami Dolphins. And just to throw this out there to Jets fans, I have no idea what the Venn diagram is of big Jets fans that also consume a lot of college football. But obviously, the Jets need a quarterback of the future and are loaded for bear with the war chest of first-round picks coming up over the next couple drafts. Did you watch Fernando Mendoza last night for Indiana? Making a huge throw at the end of the game to basically clinch the game for Indiana against the best defense in the country with Ohio State, and all but wrapping up the Heisman Trophy. To me, and I'm not like a quarterback guru, but he looks like QB1 to me, Fernando Mendoza in the NFL draft. And I've thought that basically since he had the game-winning touchdown to beat Penn State on the road at Happy Valley. I think Mendoza's awesome, and if you didn't watch the game last night, and you're a Jets fan and you want to get excited, I would queue up some of the Fernando Mendoza highlights, because it's not outside the realm of possibility that Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza will be your starting quarterback starting next season. Not saying it's going to happen. Other teams have picks as well. The Jets don't look like they'll have the first overall pick in the draft, obviously, but with all those picks that they've got, if Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn decide that Mendoza's the guy and he's the line, get it? Maybe he is your next quarterback. Props for this game. I think Devon Achane absolutely goes off here. Devon Achane over 81.5 rushing yards. And in the anytime touchdown market, you guys know I love A.D. Mitchell. Had him last week. Well, you can bet A.D. Mitchell over receiving yards. I probably will also. I just prefer the Achane rushing yards. We are now seeing John Mechie's price dip a little bit in the anytime touchdown market. So what I say to all of you is, I am a sinner who's probably gonna sin again. Mitch, don't kill my vibe. Mitch, don't kill my vibe. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. John Mechie, anytime touchdown. I hope he doesn't write a diss track about me, because that was really bad. Moving on from the AFC East to the AFC North. Usually Ravens Steelers is, and there is a ton of stakes obviously associated with this game. Neither one of these teams is playing very well at the moment. Baltimore, a 6-point home favorite over embattled and under fire Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Total of the game, 43. Lamar Jackson is going to play despite missing Thursday's practice for Baltimore. He is clearly, I think, at less than 100% health for the Baltimore Ravens. Man, winner of this game is going to be in first place in the division. We'll get to the Bengals and Bills coming up in a little bit here, where Cincinnati, maybe, I don't think Cincinnati can win the division, but Cincinnati, like, not far behind these two teams right now, and neither one of them is really playing well. And the Pittsburgh Steelers last week against the Buffalo Bills, one of the most disgraceful defensive performances you'll ever see. As Buffalo, for the old heads in the audience, for all the people like me, I was born in '83, who grew up playing not Madden, but Tecmo Bowl, will remember that the old playbook in Tecmo Bowl was like the playbook was 4 plays. And that's all Buffalo did last week. They had the Tecmo Bowl playbook against Pittsburgh. Run James Cook left, run James Cook right. That was it. Future first ballot Hall of Fame pass rusher for the Steelers, TJ Watt, saying after the game, man, I've never seen a team run the same play over and over again with that much success. Dude, you're on the defense. How do you let that happen? And Mike Tomlin and Stone Cold Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator. Austin 316 says, I never change my scheme. This was like when the Patriots used to play the Steelers with Tom Brady, and it was insert undersized slot white wide receiver, whether it's Edelman, Wes Welker, Chris Hollywood Hogan, and the Steelers would just guard that receiver with a linebacker over and over again, and Brady would just kill them, and they refused to change the defensive system. That's what's happening right now in Pittsburgh. It might... Adam Schefter reporting overnight the Steelers are not going to fire Mike Tomlin. I kind of think that's a mistake. It feels like the expiration date is passed on Mike Tomlin as Steelers head coach, but that appears to be a story for another time. As far as this game goes, Aaron Rodgers right now looks like he's doing the J.O.B. to Father Time. Kind of like John Cena will do in his final match to Gunther. You know John Cena's putting over Gunther. The same way Aaron Rodgers right now is putting over Father Time. It is really hard to trust Aaron Rodgers to do anything. But it's also really hard right now to trust Lamar Jackson to do anything. Doesn't look healthy. Was brutal on Thanksgiving night against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I don't want to make this bet, and I mean that sincerely. I may end up putting a small bet in on the Steelers at +6, with the rationale being the same rationale that I gave before Bengals-Ravens on Thanksgiving, which is that bet had nothing to do with Joe Burrow coming back and everything to do with Lamar Jackson. So if I bet the Steelers, it will have nothing to do with Pittsburgh and everything to do with Lamar Jackson. And I thought eye test-wise that Lamar looked okay in that game, and then he doesn't practice on Thursday. So it's like, what the hell are we supposed to do with this here? We'll talk about Lamar as far as fantasy is concerned, with this being the final game of the fantasy regular season, in the fantasy segment coming up a little later. So Steelers +6 if I had to bet it. I'm not sure that I will. Yardage props. You know what the old adage says. December showers bring Zay Flowers. Is that the old adage? Zay Flowers over 57.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Let's take a stab on 2 tight ends in the game. Isaiah likely to fumble the ball out of the end zone on Thanksgiving night, which he did. But look, him and Mark Andrews both get the ball. Lamar loves throwing to tight ends. Likely's at a longer price. So beer or pizza money on Isaiah Likely. And you know Aaron Rodgers loves his tight ends, mostly because he doesn't want to sit in the pocket and get hit and throw the ball down the field. The Steelers tight end at the longest price to score, Muth. Pat Freiermuth, anytime touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seahawks and the Falcons in Atlanta. Seattle, a 7-point road favorite, total 44.5. Drake London will miss this game for the Falcons. Another missed game for Drake London on this, the final day of the fantasy football regular season. This is the biggest betrayal involving London and the United States since Benedict Arnold. Drake, we need you back on the field. There's a Kendrick Lamar Drake joke to be made here. It's too early. And I didn't go to bed until about 1 a.m. Sorry, everybody. So no Drake London today. The Seahawks offense has quietly struggled a bit as of late. And Atlanta has been believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. I worked myself into that one. Atlanta has been the preferred, where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home. Beep. Atlanta has been the preferred betting side in this game. This was 8 Now we're down to 7. We've even seen 6.5s here in this game. And I get it. Seattle has not looked great. They're still winning games. Lost to the Rams a couple weeks ago. 2 straight wins since. But a gauntlet coming up schedule-wise for the Seahawks as they're looking to potentially win the NFC West. Home field advantage is still in play for them in the NFC playoffs. They have the Colts next week. The Rams the week after at San Francisco in Week 18. Is this a hashtag look-ahead spot for Seattle? I don't know if that's true. I don't want to bet this game. I actually think I'd bet Seattle if it went down to 6.5. But just to give the context to everybody, Atlanta has been the preferred betting side here, and I do expect Bijan Robinson to play well today for Atlanta. I actually hate all the yardage props in this game. Like JSN 92.5, you can bet that over if you want. He has not been going nuclear as of late. If I had to bet one, I guess it would be Rashid Shaheed over 21.5 receiving yards. He has yet to have like that signature moment since becoming a Seahawk on the fast track, obviously in the dome. So Shaheed would be my bet if I had to make one, but I don't, so I probably won't. Anytime touchdown, Tyler Algier for the Atlanta Falcons. Bills and the Bengals in Buffalo. Buffalo, a 6-point home favorite against Joe Burrow and Cincy, total 53.5. We have to talk about the weather here. And thankfully, like no wind really in the forecast today, but there is snow on the ground in Buffalo, and there is snow expected in the forecast. I don't think it'll have anything to do with anything. It'll just make the game a little bit more watchable because we all enjoy a winter wonderland. T. Higgins is back for Cincinnati, cleared concussion protocol. No Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals. Fantasy players, listen up. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo's tight end, who's missed a little bit of time, right? The quotes in the NFL Insider overnight tweets. Dalton Kincaid, quote, plans to try and play. That is different from Dalton Kincaid is expected to play. So we don't know if Kincaid's going to play or not. So if you're hoping that you're going to get Dalton Kincaid to play today to make the fantasy football playoffs, you may not have him. Now, he may play in the game. I think he's probably on the right side of questionable, it seems like. I think he's probably more likely to play than not play. But have a backup ready if you're planning on starting Dalton Kincaid. Have a backup ready. It would not be surprising if at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, when the actives and inactives come out, that Dalton Kincaid is inactive for this game. No Joey Bosa for Buffalo. Deion Dawkins returns on the offensive line. So the Cincinnati conversation is now, with Baltimore and Pittsburgh both struggling, can Joe Burrow lead the Bengals to the postseason? In the immortal words of Dr. Evil, how about no? I didn't like the Bengals to make the playoffs before the year with Joe Burrow starting for 17 games. I still think this defense is a train wreck. Lamar was terrible, obviously, on Thanksgiving. I do expect Buffalo to score some points in this game. I don't know how many points. We'll get to that in a second. But, man, if I'm going to bet this game, I think it has to be Cincy. And I know I just said Cincy's defense is terrible. James Cook should have a field day. But, man, Buffalo's defense is nothing to write home about. It's Joe Burrow on the other side getting 6 points. If I had to bet the game, small bet on Cincinnati plus the points. And I do like the under in the game, under 53.5. Small bet on that. Like, I prefer the under to the Bengals. I think both teams will have success running the ball. And obviously bleed that clock. Tick, 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 tick. And let's get this one under the total. Yardage props. Let's go with Charlie's son, because Christmas time is here. Chase Brown, over 49.5 rushing yards. If you're wondering, hey, where's the James Cook prop? It's over 100 yards. So, betting market expects James Cook to ball out. He probably will. I'm not saying he can't go over, just that. It's not like it's 80.5 and we think he's going for $110. Anytime touchdowns. I like 3 in this game. The Bengals, Joe Burrow specifically, throws to all of his tight ends. Let's bet the guy at the longest price. Rock's great-grandson. Wonder how that happened. Tanner Hudson. We will bet Samaje Perine, who's the backup running back to Chase Brown, who sees time in the Bengals backfield. And you know how we do it with the Bills backfield. They have 3 guys that all play. We bet the one at the longest odds. Today, that will be Ty Johnson, for the Buffalo Bills. Browns and the Titans in Cleveland. This will be a football game that will be played. Cleveland, a 4-point home favorite, total 33.5. Chance of snow in the forecast, but wind not expected to be bad. This should function as a normal game, as normal it can be with these two terrible teams. Mason Graham, Cleveland's first-round rookie defensive tackle, is going to play, which I don't think a lot of people care about, but I just wanted to say Golden Graham because I kind of missed that snack from when I was a kid. I don't know what the hell we're supposed to do here with this game. The Titans are a total train wreck. Just when you think Cam Ward's starting to play better, he goes out and has a stinker, and he has nothing around him. I'm not even saying it's his fault. The Titans are on the fast track right now towards a second consecutive number 1 overall pick in the draft. And as for the Browns, they did lose last week to San Francisco. It did not cover the spread, but they did not play poorly in the game. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is great. I mean, he's not terrible. Hasn't been that terrible thus far. I think he's a little better than Dylan Gabriel. Deshaun Watson is back on the roster now, and he's not going to play this year. It's like Browns fans feel like they escaped the villain in a horror movie, and now he's back. The thing that we want to watch for in this game that's actually fun in this game, Myles Garrett will break the sack record with 4 more sacks. He may get it in this game. I don't want to bet the game. If I had to bet it, I guess I would take the points with Tennessee just because it's Cleveland favored by 4. I do like the over a little bit. The 33.5 feels like a total that's held down by wind, and we're not expected to have wind here. I may put a small bet on over 33.5. Yardage prop led the Browns in targets again last week from Shedeur Sanders. Harold Fannin over 37.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Titans rookie tight end Gunnar Helms Deep. Best scene from any of the Lord of the Rings movies was Two Towers, the Helms Deep scene. I would never watch those movies again, but I'm happy I did the first time. Gunnar Helm, anytime touchdown for Tennessee. Commies and the Vikings in Minnesota. This is not exactly like Anthony Carter and company in the late 80s. The Commanders. If you get that reference, you are a real one. Or old. Commanders, a 1.5-point road favorite at Minnesota. Total in the game is 44. Jaden Daniels is back and starting for Washington. Noah Brown was going to play today for Washington, so they finally have all their receivers active for a game. J.J. McCarthy clears concussion protocol. He will start for the Vikings, and he will have his left tackle, Christian Darrisaw. What a disaster season it's been for these two teams. The Commanders at 3-9 following their NFC Championship game appearance this calendar year. They played for a conference championship, now at 3-9, and played well last week against Denver. Just as an aside, maybe Cliff Kingsbury wasn't the problem in Arizona. Maybe Kyler Murray just stinks. Just want to throw that out there. And Minnesota, obviously, their bet on J.J. McCarthy has come up snake eyes over and over again. The Vikings at 4-8. I don't know why. The fact that Minnesota's a home dog in this game, I get it. I really do. McCarthy's been terrible. Jaden Daniels is back. Washington being a road favorite here does not sit right with me. I think I'm going to, and you're hearing me say small bet a lot. I don't really love the card today. I had a big bet on the Cowboys on Thursday. That was a disaster. So, just say, you've listened to the show, you watch the show, when I say I like a game, I like a game. I don't love a lot of games today. I think I'm going to put a small bet on the Minnesota Vikings to win this game today. Again, it's Minnesota has a great home field. The Commanders are favored. They stink. Their defense is terrible. If you get anything from J.J. McCarthy, and what the Vikings keep saying is they're just going to let J.J. rip. They're not worried about the fundamentals. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you J.J. is going to play great. I'm going to put a small bet on Minnesota because I disagree with the Commanders being favored in this spot. I hate all the props here. I guess Addison 41.5. I don't even love it, just to give something out. Anytime touchdowns. With Jaden Daniels back, I'll take a stab on Bill Krosky-Merritt. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, anytime touchdown. That's a small bet at a big price. To the NFC South, Buccaneers and the Saints in Tampa. Tampa, an 8.5-point home favorite. Total is 42. Tristan Wirfs ruled out this morning for Tampa. I don't know if he's officially ruled out, but all the insider tweets, Tristan Wirfs will not play for Tampa. No Mike Evans. At least another week for Mike Evans to return. Jalen McMillan will be back at some point for Tampa. Nate's son. I still think he's stash-worthy in deeper leagues. Alvin Kamara out for the Saints. Chris Olave, is expected to play. Drake London could stand to take a page out of Chris Olave's book. Get in the lineup, Drake. For New Orleans, rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck has not been terrible. And the Saints are running a ton of no huddle, a ton of tempo. Remember what we said early in the season, that Kellen Moore, Saints head coach, was showing his team, and the Knicks fans like me don't want to hear this, but showing them like highlights of the Pacers last year. They want to be the NFL equivalent of that, like full court press in an NFL capacity, right? Running a ton of up tempo, a ton of no huddle. I think New Orleans is a little bit interesting here. And I don't think the Saints are going to win, although I don't think it's impossible that the Saints win this game. It's really hard to trust Tampa right now. The Bucs have not been healthy all season long. I do like the Saints plus the 8.5 here. New Orleans plus 8.5 is a bet for me. Yardage props. 16 targets over his last 2 games. Let's go with Juwan Johnson over 42.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. Tyler Shuck runs a lot. Tyler Shuck anytime touchdown for New Orleans, which gives me an opportunity because we're using the word shuck. And shuck makes me think about oysters. And I just wanted to throw out that the best oyster are Kumamoto's. They're a West Coast oyster. I think maybe even like off the coast of Vancouver, whatever. Kumamoto oysters are terrific. So next time you're hankering for oysters, you see them on the menu, and they got Kumamoto's. They're a little pricey. Pay up for them Kumamoto's because they are absolutely succulent. And if you wanted to, and we'll talk about him in the fantasy segment, Devon Vele seeing a lot of time for New Orleans in the wide receiving core. He's emerged as their number 2 receiver alongside Chris Olave, which makes me think of the great song by William Devon. And I heard it yesterday in Manhattan. We went to breakfast with Santa with my daughter. Just be thankful for what you've got, even if you don't drive a big Cadillac. Devon Vele, anytime touchdown for the Saints. Huge game in the AFC South. Daniel Jones and his broken leg and the Colts. 1.5-point road favorites at the Jags. Total 46.5. Sauce Gardner out for the Colts. Confirmed. Jets won the trade. I'm kidding. Not really, though. The Jets won the trade, obviously. The Colts might miss the playoffs. Brutal schedule to close for Indy. At Jacksonville today. At Seattle next week. Home San Francisco. Home Jacksonville. At Houston. If the Jaguars win this game, they are in great position to win this division. Maybe they'll rue blowing that fourth quarter lead against Davis Mills and the Texans. We'll get to the Texans and the Chiefs a little bit later. The ramifications are massive in this game. And I'd love to be able to sit here and give you like a stellar X's and O's on-field handicap. The way I'm going to bet this game comes down to one thing and one thing only. One quarterback in the game has a broken leg, and the other doesn't. I'll have a bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 1.5. I think there are some 2s out there. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Would I be shocked if the Colts won? No. I actually think Indy's better than Jacksonville. But again, Daniel Jones has a fractured fibula and can't move laterally. Seems bad. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the points. Oh, I should throw this in there. No Parker Washington for Jacksonville today on the fantasy football final day of the regular season. Yardage props. I bet him over every week. He goes over basically every week. Alec Pierce. Great episodes in Succession, by the way, when they're trying to buy Pierce, which is like the CNN, I believe, of Succession. Alec Pierce over 52.5 receiving yards. I would hit you with Logan Roy's signature catchphrase, but I would like to keep my job. Alec Pierce over 52.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns. I'm going to roll the dice here on a guy that has done well against the Colts in his brief NFL career. Making a comeback here. Kind of like back from the dead. Similar to when Chrono came back to life in the critically acclaimed 1996 Japanese role-playing game for Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger, which is in desperate... We're like Hollywood and video game companies are remaking everything under the sun, including some crappy IPs. Chrono Trigger might be the best video game ever made in the conversation. Can we get a Chrono Trigger remake, please? Anyway, Brian Thomas Jr. will not only beat Lavos today, but will score a touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. Broncos and the Raiders in Las Vegas. Man, if you're a nerd, this is the show for you. And you like football. Denver, an 8-point road favorite at the Raiders. Total 40.5. Max Crosby is expected to play. Michael Mayer and Dante Thornton out for the Raiders. Fantasy implications there. We'll get to those coming up in a little bit. Actually, a massive game as it concerns the number 1 seed and home field advantage in the American Football Conference, better known to you and yours, of course, as the AFC, where the Patriots, coming off their pasting of the Giants on Monday night, another great performance by Mike Kafka in Big Blue. Love it. What a joke. And still people will tell you that Joe Shane's doing a good job and deserves to come back. Get your heads out of your derrieres. The people that like Joe Shane, heads so far up their rear ends they can smell the pancakes they had for breakfast. It's embarrassing, everyone. They stink. It's year 4. I can't let a show go by without giving my take on the state of the New York Football Giants. Just an absolute unmitigated disgrace. Year 4, one of the worst teams in the league. But yes, let's bring the GM back. Oh yeah, they're close. I'm sure year 5 will go different. Pathetic. What a joke. Anyway, Denver with a win will match New England for the best record in the AFC. So this is like, if the Chiefs miss the playoffs, Buffalo's got issues, Baltimore's got issues, the AFC South teams have issues. This could be, I'm being serious, like Denver or New England, whoever gets home field and only has to win 2 games at home, that could be your AFC representative in the Super Bowl, which sounds nuts, but it's true. So big game for the Denver Broncos here. And they couldn't have picked a better opponent because the Las Vegas Raiders, like, I would call them a dumpster fire, but that would be an insult to every dumpster that is currently engulfed in a raging inferno. This team's a train wreck. There are some, so like no insult to Brock Bowers, like Ashton Genty. There are like no good young players on this roster. A 74-year-old head coach who was supposed to engineer, like they're supposed to be good this year. They're horrible. Tom Brady apparently making decisions, like too concerned, I think, with like trips to Saudi Arabia, not concerned enough with the fact that Geno Smith's his quarterback. This team desperately needs to hit the reset button in the worst way. In the worst way. They're not even close to being competitive, which doesn't mean they can't cover the spread in this game. Denver barely beat Washington last week, so this is not me making the case for the Broncos to win by 1,000,000 points. If I had to bet the game, I would only bet Denver. I don't hate Denver as a teaser, and if you wanted to, you could do a 2-team teaser with the Denver Broncos and the Minnesota Vikings. Denver to -2, Minnesota to +7.5. Denver, Minnesota. 2-team teaser, I think, is not a bad idea for today. Cortland Sutton, over 46.5 receiving yards, anytime touchdowns. How about Jack Besh, Vegas' rookie receiver, whose name sounds like John Tesh, which gives me an excuse to do this. Da 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 da. I know everyone is into, and I like the NBA being back on NBC, just as, you know, as a Knicks fan of a certain age, when I hear that music, I'm like one of Pavlov's dogs. Except instead of going to the bowl to try and eat some dog food, I want to like convulse on the ground thinking about Michael Jordan ripping my heart out and ruining my childhood. To happier thoughts, as we have one of the best rivalries in the NFL, and it's great that we're in December, and this game means something. As the Green Bay Packers host the Chicago Bears at the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And the tundra will actually be frozen today. It's going to be 15 degrees there. No wind expected, so it should operate as a normal game. Just gonna be freezing. And if you're one of these people, and I know there are a lot of New Yorkers are like this, that will go to a cold weather football game and sit outside, I am way too soft for that. I am what Enzo Amore and Big Cass would describe as SAWFT. Soft! I don't want to sit outside in the cold. Shout out to all those people today. God bless them. Chicago, if the season ended today. Hashtag if the season ended today. Which it doesn't. But if it did, the Bears would be your number 1 overall seed, home field advantage in the NFC. Green Bay right now, and I can tell you because I talk to these people, is power rated right now by bettors who bet a lot of money, as if not the best team in the league, one of the 3 best teams in the league. And that's why we get a point spread like this, right? Green Bay almost a touchdown favorite against a team with a better record than them at home. It also doesn't help Chicago that head coach Ben Johnson said earlier in the week that the Bears are winning not because of their passing game, but in spite of it. Not great now that we've hit December. Rome Odunze is week to week with a stress. Let me try and get this right and not combine the 2 words and get fired. Stress fracture in his foot. He is out for today's game. And in memory of Jaden Reed is back for Green Bay. And I just want to give a quick shout out. When I was younger, I would listen religiously and stay up all night, basically, listening to Joe Beningo on the WFAN overnight show. When my guy Ray Martell was producing the show, he might have been running the board as well, and they always used to play. I think it was for Umberto's Clam House. Umberto's Clam House. Shout out to Joe Beningo, all-time legend, right? They would play in memory of Elizabeth Reed for some of the live reads that Joe would do. And I used to, when I ran the board at SiriusXM, would play in memory of Elizabeth Reed and cue it up right at that spot. If you're a WFAN real one and you know what I'm talking about, God bless you. If not, I'm not going to apologize for the last 30 seconds because it means something to me emotionally. Now let's talk about the game. Green Bay beat Detroit last week on Thanksgiving. The Lions didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they have an injured secondary. So maybe Jordan Love can do it again, and to be fair, he's playing great. I'm a little skeptical in this spot. I do think Chicago, because Ben Johnson is such a good head coach, and to be clear, he's not just good, he's spectacular. He's unbelievable. Put the clown suit on Vic Fangio on Black Friday, destroyed Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin the week before that. If this gets to 7, and it will, and it's Bears +7, small bet for me on Chicago just to keep the game close. I don't have a tremendously thorough opinion on that. Small bet for me on Bears +7 if and when we get there. And again, I can't wait to watch this game later this afternoon. 1 yardage prop. 1,000 kisses from you is never enough. You know we're going with Luther. Luther Burden with no Roma Dunze. Luther Burden over 39.5 receiving yards. He's going to go over his receiving yards prop. Anytime touchdowns. With Burden going to kick to the outside, most likely. Olamide, the Book of Zacchaeus. Anytime touchdown for the Bears. Rams and the Cardinals in the desert. Point spread right now at MGM. Rams -9.5, total 47.5. This is going to go to 10. It's 10 elsewhere right now. And the reason why, it is a mash unit right now for the Arizona Cardinals as far as injuries are concerned. Trey Benson, I don't even want to do the George Benson bit anymore, is not only out for this game, but ESPN's Adam Schefter tweeted a half hour ago in real time that Trey Benson, they need to activate him to the active roster this week or he can't play the rest of the year, that they may not do that. His season may be over. I've been stashing him in a bunch of fantasy leagues. It may be for naught. Amari DiMercado also out for Arizona. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out for Arizona. The human Dortch, flame on, Greg Dortch is out for Arizona. Cornerback Max Melton is out for Arizona. And Christopher's son, Walter Nolan, rookie stud defensive lineman, out for Arizona. So is it a surprise that the Rams keep getting bet out here? It's not. Now, I normally like betting Arizona in spots like this. Cardinals is a huge dog. I can't get there here. Now, I think I'm going to pass the game, but I want to pass this on to people, right? If you like the Rams, and I'm going to look at another domestic sports book right now, just to see what the spread is there, because at an offshore right now, the number is 10. Okay, where is this here? Okay, it's 9.5 at another domestic. If you like the Rams, I can be wrong about this, but I think this will close 10. If you like the Rams, I would lay the 9.5. I wanted to bet Arizona. I can't get there, not with all these players out for the Cardinals. But I do like Arizona with a yardage prop here. And we will go with Trey, father of McBride, over 77.5 receiving yards. With Greg Dortch out, Trent Sherfield promoted from the practice squad. I think he's going to be Arizona's slot receiver today. I'm going to put a couple bucks on Trent Sherfield to score a touchdown. And we will close this segment, Sunday Night Football, with the Chiefs and the Texans in Kansas City. As 6-6 Kansas City, playoff hopes on the line, on life support, hosting resurgent and surging 7-5 Houston. KC, a 3.5-point home favorite, total 41.5. Now, as I've gotten older, when I play video games, I don't play them sometimes I play on easy mode because I don't want to deal. I'm old, I have multiple jobs, I have a kid. I can't be grinding playing 100 hours of a game, even if I like the game. So sometimes you drop the difficulty down a little bit if you get to a tough one. And you can tell, you're cheating the game, great, I don't care. How many of you put the difficulty level all the way up when you play a game? Maybe some of you. This is like a difficulty level all the way up today for Patrick Mahomes. All the way up. The Chiefs are expected to be without 3/5 of their starting offensive line. Left tackle Josh Simmons is on IR. Their best player on the O-line, Trey Smith, left guard, is doubtful, as is tackle Jawan Taylor. This could be a disaster going up against the best defense in the league in the Houston Texans. And C.J. Stroud, he was tap dancing in the pocket like Fred Astaire in the first half of last week's win in Indianapolis, was kind of settled in the second half. Remember, his first game back, multiple weeks out with a concussion. You can make a case that the Texans right now are the most dangerous team in the AFC. I can't believe I'm saying that, but you can make that case. Final four team the last 2 years in the AFC played on divisional weekend, each of C.J. Stroud's first 2 years in the league. My guess is this game closes 3. I can't imagine that once these offensive linemen are ruled out for the Chiefs that people are going to be excited to bet Kansas City. With how poorly they've played, all the penalties, Andy Reid was so conservative a game plan, they should have him come on after Sean Hannity on Fox News. Brutal for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm stupid, and I admit that. This is like my own like heterosexual version or asexual version of Brokeback Mountain. Mine's out of the gutter, people. I can't quit the Kansas City Chiefs. I would like to bet Kansas City, but I need a way better number than this to lay with KC. Like 3 minus 110. A lot of the bettors that I've talked to, they like the Houston Texans in this game. So keep that in mind when you bet it. Do whatever the hell you want to do. I can't quit the Chiefs. I'd like to bet KC. Not at this number, though. Has to be 3 for me to bet Kansas City. This could be last chance at the OK Corral for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. If they lose, they will almost certainly miss the playoffs. 1 yardage prop. You know we love Jaden Hollywood Higgins, over 35.5 receiving yards, anytime touchdowns. Xavier Hutchinson for the Houston Texans. Isaiah Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs. Quick break, and on the other side, on the final day of the fantasy football regular season, fantasy breakdown for every game, and a deeper dive into props. 888-808-1019 is the number. 888-808-1019. It's You Better You Bet on The Fan with me, Nick Costos, and you, whoever the hell you are. Presented by BetMGM.
It may be the off-season for the Bombers and Amazons, but there's no off-season for Yankees and Mets talk. Get the latest here. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio app.
Find excellence in every detail in a new Volvo. At Volvo Cars Ramsey, 8-time winner of the Volvo Excellence Award, you'll find excellent offers. Find our entire inventory at VolvoCarsRamsey.com. Find excellence at Volvo Cars Ramsey.
Life's rewarding, especially with Flushing Bank's Complete Cash Rewards program. Just open a personal or business complete checking account to get started. With 29 New York Metro locations, there's nothing easier or more rewarding. Visit FlushingBank.com today. Member FDIC.
Hey, New Jersey, now's the time to enroll in quality, affordable health coverage through Get Covered New Jersey. All plans provide free preventive care, coverage for prescriptions, emergency services, and more. Plus, 8 in 10 get financial help to lower monthly costs. If you have questions or need help enrolling, Get Covered New Jersey is here for you. Hurry, open enrollment is happening now. Enroll by December 31st for January 1st coverage at getcovered.nj.gov. Getcovered.nj.gov.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-269-3454. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-269-3454 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-269-3454 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-269-3454.
I'm Colonel Callahan of the New Jersey State Police. If you're caught driving impaired, you'll face hefty fines, a suspended license, and maybe even jail time. Worse yet, you might cause a crash that could devastate someone's life. Be responsible. Don't drive impaired. We are all counting on you.
Surfside is the perfect fit this holiday season. Whether you're watching football, hitting the slopes, or warming up by the fire, there's nothing better than enjoying your favorite Surfside canned cocktail to keep the good times going. Made with real vodka, Surfside is only 100 calories and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. So it's smooth, easy to sip, and always refreshing. It's not a seltzer, it's a Surfside. Ask for it at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Town Fair Tire honors any valid rebates, manufacturers or competitors' rebates. Yes, even any competitors' rebates. And we give you the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire. It's time for You Better You Bet on the Fan with your host, Nick Costas.
Indeed, it is I, Nick Costos, here with you on the Fan. Glorious Week 14 NFL Sunday. 888-808-1019 is the number. 888-808-1019. All right, fantasy and prop betting nuggets for every game as we dive deep. How deep? We'll start with the Dolphins and the Jets. And just allow me to say, good luck to everybody today on this, the final day of the fantasy football regular season. I got a couple of matchups that I have to win today. Always a pretty anxiety-inducing day, the final day of the fantasy football regular season. We'll start with the Dolphins and the Jets. I love me Devon Achane here. I think he's going to go off in this game. It's tough to trust Jalen Waddle for Miami, but obviously you're starting him. I mean, if you're not starting him, you better have a bunch of really good options in his place. Darren Waller, a roll of the dice, but if you need him at a bad position at tight end, you could play him. In one league where I have Justin Herbert as my quarterback, I'm actually going to start Tyrod Taylor. I'm not going to wait to find out if he's going to play tomorrow night. Herbert with the fractured left hand. And just if you want to roll the dice with Herbert and the Chargers tomorrow night, please pick up Trey Lance. Like, if Herbert's your quarterback and you get to tomorrow and Herbert's ruled out, if I were your opponent, I would pick up Trey Lance and block you from having a quarterback in the game. So make sure you've got either Trey Lance on your roster or you have, you know what? Like, you have to make that decision today if you've got Herbert. It's either Trey Lance and you're rolling with Lance tomorrow if Herbert's out, or you're not even worried about tomorrow night. The Eagles do have a tough defense, right? So you have to make that decision if Herbert is your quarterback. For the Jets, Brees, A.D. Mitchell, and if you're in a pinch, a little John Mechie. Steelers and the Ravens. I don't really like any Steelers here. Jalen Warren is startable. So is DK Metcalf. The Steelers just picked up Adam Thielen, just like old receiver that Aaron Rodgers feels like he will know his head motions prior to the snap. I think really, if you're in a deep league, Gainwell's not terrible. I think it's just Metcalf and Jalen Warren, and then maybe Gainwell in deep leagues for today. I love Darnell Washington. He's 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot. But they use all the tight ends just really, really hard to trust. Lamar Jackson sunk a couple of my fantasy teams this year, including in a guillotine league that I was really enjoying. But I don't think you can sit him. If I still had Lamar on a team, I would play him today. Because you never know. Because if he goes off, then obviously you can win. Derrick Henry should smash. I do like me some Zay Flowers today for the Ravens. Seahawks and the Falcons. Same deal for Seattle as usual. JSN, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. You can start some of the others if you want, like A.J. Barner, Rashid Shaheed. I think those are the only three that are the lock starts. For Atlanta, Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. If you're in a pinch and you need Darnell Mooney, good luck and Godspeed. He is Atlanta's nominal number one receiver. Very, very hard to trust, obviously. Pitts has actually been pretty good with Cousins. Kind of like the actual number one pass catcher for Atlanta. Mooney, though, the number one, quote-unquote, wide receiver. Bengals and the Bills. I think this could be a good Chase Brown game. The Bills can't stop the run. I think Samaje Perine in deep leagues can be viable as well. He's going to spell Chase Brown in spots, could get some carries down by the goal line. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, obviously in the lineups, as is Joe Burrow. Mitchell Tinsley had 8 targets against Baltimore on Thanksgiving. T. Higgins is back, so Tinsley won't get that many targets. If you're in a dynasty league or a keeper league where you can keep a lot of guys, I think Mitchell Tinsley is worth rostering. For Buffalo, keep in mind the quotes from NFL insiders were Dalton Kincaid is going to try and play. He may be out of this game. So if you've got Kincaid, make sure you have a backup. You're starting James Cook. You're obviously starting Josh Allen. Shakir is the most dependable wide receiver. They all kind of stink for Buffalo. Titans and the Browns, man, what a spot to play Cleveland's defense and special teams. I don't think you can really start any Titans with confidence, but I'm playing Tony Pollard in one league. I am playing Tyjae Spears in another. Cam Ward is not playing well, and Cleveland's defense is really good. Quinshon Judkins is going to get the ball a lot today against a tough Titans defensive front. I do like me some Harold Fannin. You better be in a really deep league or have some injuries if you're going to play Jerry Jeudy. Commanders and the Vikings. I am starting in a must-win matchup in fantasy today. Jaden Daniels over Baker Mayfield. So I'm going back to the well here with Jaden Daniels. I know he hasn't played in a while. I'm willing to take the risk and roll the dice with Jaden Daniels. Now, with anytime touchdowns, I wanted the longer price with Bill Krosky-Merritt. Chris Rodriguez is the Commanders running back, though, with the highest floor. You can start McLaurin, you can start Debo, you can start Zach Ertz. You have to start Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, cell phone number 281-330-8004. I know J.J. McCarthy's bad. If it's me, I'm starting Addison in a couple spots. I don't have Jefferson in any leagues where I'm still alive anymore. I don't think you can sit Justin Jefferson even with J.J. McCarthy as the quarterback. Saints and the Bucks. New Orleans, I think, is way more interesting now than they were with Spencer Rattler, with Tyler Shuck as the quarterback. Olave, Jawan Johnson, Devin Neal, Devon Vele in PPR. I think are all startable today for the Saints. And you could start Tyler Shuck in Superflex, which is a 2-quarterback league, and maybe get away with it. For Tampa, it's Baker, it's Bucky Irving, it's Emeka Egbuka, easy for me to say, and Chris Godwin. Keep in mind, Mike Evans, we think, is going to be back next week for Tampa. If for whatever reason he's on the waiver wire in any of the leagues that you're in, like Lloyd and Harry said in Dumb and Dumber, pick him up. Colts and the Jaguars. 2 straight stinkers for Jonathan Taylor. You can't sit him ever. Have to play him. I know that Daniel Jones has a fractured fibula. I think in 2-quarterback leagues you can play him. I'm playing him in a 2-quarterback league where I need to win today to make the playoffs. Shout out to my buddy Mike in Staten Island, who I co-own the team with. I think you're starting all your Colts pass catchers. You take the risk. I am, at least. That's Downs, that's Pittman, that's Alec Pierce, and stud rookie tight end Tyler Warren. I'm starting Trevor Lawrence in a couple leagues today where I've got to win to make the playoffs. He's actually been pretty good even with low volume. You're starting ETN. You're starting Jacoby Myers. You're rolling the dice on Brian Thomas Jr. And I think you can start Brenton home on the Strange at tight end. Broncos and the Raiders. Good Bo Nix spot today against a brutal Raiders defense. You know Sean Payton will scheme up the offensive line to try and protect Nix from Max Crosby, who's basically the only good Raiders player on defense. RJ Harvey has been very frustrating for Denver. Where's Harvey Dent? I'm starting RJ Harvey today if I've got to. I know he's been frustrating, but he gets a ton of volume and does get work down by the goal line. You're starting Cortland Sutton. I'm starting Troy Franklin, but worth noting, rookie out of Illinois, 3rd-rounder Pat Bryant played over Troy Franklin last week. I kind of think they're both viable in deeper leagues in PPR formats. For the Raiders, it's just Genty and Bowers. If you're in a really deep league and you feel like rolling the dice, Jack Besh with Dante Thornton out for the Raiders and the receiving core. Bears and the Packers. We love this Bears run game. DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, both worth starting. No Devontae Wyatt in the middle of the defensive line for the Green Bay Packers. With Roma Dunze out, I expect wide receiver, the 3-receiver set to be DJ Moore, Luther Burden, and Olamide Zaccheaus. Colston Loveland should see some work as well. DJ Moore's been disappointing this year. I don't hate him in this matchup. And with Jaden Reed back for Green Bay, I mean, so many receivers touch the ball for the Packers. Christian Watson would be one for me with the bullet. And if you need Jaden Reed, I think he's going to get some work today over the middle of the field for the Packers. I don't love Dontavian Wicks. I don't love Romeo Doubs. All their tight ends are hot garbage. Rams and the Cardinals. The Rams are easy. It's always Stafford, it's always Kyron, it's always Puka, it's always Devontae Adams. For Arizona, Bam Knight will start at running back. You can start Michael Wilson, you can start Trey McBride. And for Houston and Kansas City, fire up Woody Marks, obviously Nico Collins. I love me some Jaden Higgins. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt kind of cancel each other out, but I think both are playable. You're starting Rashee Rice, you're starting Travis Kelce. If you need Xavier Worthy, he is capable of popping a big one. And that does it for the Week 14 NFL Sunday edition of You Better You Bet here on The Fan. Football Sunday with my good friend, the great Mark Malusis, is coming up next. Shameless plug. Follow me on Instagram at the Costos, TheKostos, TheKostos on Instagram. So until we meet again, dear listener and dear viewer, nationally today, 11 a.m. Eastern, for You Better You Bet Countdown to Kickoff. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, for the weekday edition of You Better You Bet. Or next Sunday on these airwaves at 8 a.m., I am Nick Costos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, and the absolute very best of luck. Let's get it today. Week 14, NFL Sunday.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and